So folks, here we are, and we're gonna use OpenTrack, which is a software that captures your head movements through your webcam and translates it into head movement inside another software as a simulator, a game, or whatever it is, as soon as it's compatible with this kind of head tracker, it's going to translate your head movements into movement inside the software that you're using. In our case, we're going to use it for War Thunder. It's going to emulate something like an infrared head tracker or a VR set, something like that, right? So the first thing we gotta do is installing OpenTrack in our system, and you're gonna do it through this page here on GitHub. I'm gonna leave the link for you guys to download it in this video's description so you can look at it in there. And I recommend you looking for the latest stable version, As you can see here, the latest released version is this OpenTrack 2024.1.1, but it's a pre-release, so I don't recommend using those ones because just like it says in here, it is going to be buggy, it's not going to be fully tested, so there will be issues. Look for the latest stable version. Alright, so you roll it down here, and then you're gonna find a version labeled as the latest one. And this is gonna be the latest stable version, so you go for it. That's my recommendation, and that's the one I'm gonna be using with you guys today. Alright guys, and here we are. We have the latest stable version here, 2023.3.0. It is installed in my system, and let's talk a little bit about how it works, right? Well, first thing, I've seen many people changing the input and output modes here, and even using this software combined with other softwares, but I don't want to complicate things. I just want to go as simple as possible and have something stable and functional here, so I'm just gonna let it as it is here, the input, the neural net tracker, but as you can see, you have many other options in there. I will just leave the neural net tracker here, and in the output, I'm gonna leave the FreeTrack 2.0 enhanced. It's been working for me, so not something you have to worry about, To make it start, we just have to click on start in here. And there you go. You see my webcam turns on. The webcam reads my head movements, all of them, and translates it into head movement. As you can see, it being replicated by the octopus right here, Everything I do with my head in there is captured by the webcam and translated into movement here. The little octopus would be my head inside War Thunder, for example, looking all around, Now we must make it functional in War Thunder, And the first thing we're gonna do is mapping all the movement axes, I don't want it to read exactly what I do with my head, If I were inside an airplane and I wanted to check my 6, for example, I would have to turn all the way back 180 degrees or so, But of course, if I'm playing War Thunder, I'm looking at my screen. If I do that, well, I won't see what's happening right in front of me here in the screen. That's not what I want. That's not what we want, So we wanted to do something. We wanted to read our head movements in a way that we could look 180 degrees or so we can check our 6, and yet our head keeps pointing forward, keeps looking forward, so my eyes can track what's happening here on the screen. Yeah, and as you can see, I've already configured my axis to work that way. So I just have a little head movement, but I'm still looking at the screen. Okay, the other side, same story. I'm still looking at the screen. But you can see the octopus is looking almost 180 degrees. If we turn just a little more, it will look 180 degrees. That's what we want. Okay, so we can look back. We can actually look to any direction. You see, when I use the pitch move here, I get up. Right, I am almost looking 180 degrees in there. Yeah. So it would be full head up. And I'm still looking at the screen. My eyes are still here. You see what's going on in here. Okay. And that's what we want. Okay, so we're gonna set up the mapping here to read exactly this kind of video I'm gonna show you here, right? So for the yaw movement, side movement, you see I'm moving my head now, and you can see a little red dot right here is moving. Okay, and that's the system reading. I have movements in the yaw axis. Okay, so I'm gonna use the max input of 180 degrees. Right, the initial point. I left it here to 2.50, so it's going to create a kind of a little, very little dead zone. Okay, so minimum movement here, not automatically translating to movement there. Okay, and then I'm going to bring this dot in here. I'm going to push, okay, from the corner. I'm going to push the line. This dot here, I'm gonna push it all the way to 45 degrees. It means that when my head is at 45 degrees to either sides, my head in the tracker, the little octopus here, will be looking 180 degrees, you can see. And I still have my eyes on screen, so I can see what's going on. For example, if there's an enemy flying around here, I will be able to see it there, because it would be like if I'm checking my 6. Okay, for the other side, the same story. So you see my face here is pointing 45 degrees to the left side. But for the octopus in there, it is like if I were looking at 180 degrees. I'm checking my 6 here. So the other side, the same story, 45 degrees here. Okay, but in there, I'm checking my 6. My face is 180 degrees inside the game or the simulator, okay? The same thing goes for the pitch axis, right? So you can see the same story. Right, I set the value here, the maximum input to 45 degrees here. I set the point here, the dot here to 45 degrees, okay, corresponding to 180 degrees output movement. Okay, the input movement here is 180 degrees, the maximum input, but in the curve here, I just set it at 45 degrees. It will translate the pitch movement in there, as you can see, right? And then we have the roll axis. The maximum input here is 180 degrees as well. I won't mess with this curve here. It's not really necessary. Okay, it doesn't change so much in terms of what you can see in the game. Alright, so it doesn't make any difference at all. Okay, so I will just leave this one exactly the way it is, with those curves mapped this way, as you can see on screen, as you could see on screen. That's the results we get in there. Okay, so we'll move exactly this way. There's something else that might be useful, which is, you know, you're setting some shortcuts for centering your head tracker as you're using any other software. Okay, and I binded two keys in here. Okay, for this first one in here, I binded the joystick button number 13 on my HOTAS. Okay, and on my keyboard, I binded another key here. Okay, you could basically use any one, the one you likes the best. Okay, in my case, I binded this one here, and everything you gotta do, you come here, click and bind, choose the key you wanna use on your keyboard or in your HOTAS setup or whatever you're using, your joypad, whatever. Push the button, or push the key. In this case, I push the key. Alright, and then it's gonna help you center. Okay, if you want to, for example, I am in this position and you see, well, okay, readjusting myself in here, readjust my position. Right, so I want to center the thing. Okay, you just push the key, and as you can see in there, the octopus here on screen, reset the position, and now it is centered once more. Okay, so if you feel any difficulty, if you feel any needs to reset and center the tracker position, you just go there and push the button. Alright, like I did here one more time. Okay, I'm gonna move a little back. Okay, let's say I'm more comfortable in this position here, so I just push the button, it will center again. Alright, and something else, it's gonna read your closure to the camera. Okay, but I didn't do anything, I didn't have to use anything, because in War Thunder it reads very well. Okay, so that's it, guys. I want to show you what you gotta do to make the OpenTrack work with War Thunder. Okay, so you're gonna come in here, you're gonna come to the controls, alright, and here under common, on the common section, you're gonna look for tracker controls. Right, so there will be reset tracking position key. Okay, and for this one here, I binded till, right, the symbol, the key in my keyboard, on my keyboard. Okay, I binded this one here. All right. You can control the zoom with the head tracking, which I toggle the yes in this case because I want to do so you can see how it works. Okay, and you can fix the camera position in third-person view, but I want to test how it works when you were using it in third-person view. Okay, and see if it's something interesting, useful. So I'm gonna leave it disabled. Okay, and now you will be able to see that we can roll our heads. That's what I'm doing right now, and it is a kind of a movement not possible to be done with the keyboard, so in here already know I am using my head, and also to look closer. Okay, so let's see how it performs during the flight. Let me see if I can strafe some ground targets in here. let's look around. I see the grounded targets in there. I want to make a turn, so I'm going to use the keyboard. Oh, and then when I released the key on the keyboard, something very weird happened. Could you see that? And that's because of my mouse aiming. I'm gonna do it again, okay? You see my mouse is aiming here. My head is aiming there. So if I turn the airplane using the keyboard, you see my mouse keeps pointing to the direction it was pointing in the first place, which was there. So the airplane automatically maneuvered back to the point where the mouse was pointing in the first place. This is very interesting. So even if I use the keyboard to maneuver the aircraft, I will have to bring the mouse to the place where I want the airplane to go. So we'll have to maneuver using the keyboard and the mouse unless I change it in the control settings, okay? But with the basic controls we use for realistic battles and arcade battles, it's gonna behave that way. So you must be very careful not to forget. A little strafing in there, we cause some damage. Let's look behind. Okay, I'm looking at my 6 now. Well, let's try a Nemoman here. Then I have to point the mouse, because if I don't do so, you will see, sorry for my coughing there, guys. And my voice is not very good as well because I've been through a terrible allergic crisis these days. So as you can see, okay, my engine is overheating there. Let me reduce the engine power by a bit. And this is something very interesting now. I'm gonna move the mouse. I'm just moving the mouse and maneuvering the aircraft, but not using the keyboard at all. So can we maneuver the aircraft only using the mouse? Yes, we can. That's what I'm doing right now. I'm maneuvering the aircraft only using the mouse. And it was kind of effective. So maybe, just maybe, if you're using the head tracker, it would be more effective only using the mouse to maneuver the aircraft, or using the mouse as the main instrument, and not just using the mouse for aiming while maneuvering the aircraft with the keyboard. Well, I'm not so sure. Let's test it a little more. Okay, I'm gonna look back and I'm gonna use the keyboard to maneuver. Okay, the aircraft maneuvers perfectly, but when I release the keys on the keyboard, the airplane is just gonna turn and point at where the mouse was pointing before. Let's see if I can hit those guys in there. Those bombers. I think the T-45 is going for it as well. But way faster. Okay, got some hits in there. Let me look around, be sure. Okay guys, I'm using the head tracker here as you can see. And it's kind of pretty useful. Okay, I'm gonna try to hit this guy. Well, aiming with this camera is a little bit of an issue. Doesn't work so well as it usually would when just using the keyboard. Okay, I am in doo-doo here. There's a 190 on my tail. I'm gonna try to reverse this dude. Okay, so it is effective. The only problem is aiming. I mean, you lose a little bit of precision when aiming.
So that's all for today, folks. Make sure you hit the like button, share this video with your friends, and subscribe to the channel because we'll keep testing OpenTrack with War Thunder in part 2. Leave a comment sharing your experiences, thoughts, and suggestions. And don't forget to activate the notifications bell to be notified every time there is a new video here on the channel. You can also join our server on Discord to drive and fly with us and follow us on Instagram. I appreciate you who followed me so far. Salute, and I see you on the next mission.